good carbohydrate.
Oh no.
There's fiber in there as well for your dog.
Oh no, brown rice. Oh no, it's happening again. I think I know where this is going. Hi, I'm Dr. Francis. I'm a world-renowned wildlife nutritionist. You may not have heard of me, but your dog that thinks he's an ambulance sure has. And today we will be doing a reaction video to one of the most requested homemade diets for dogs. We'll be looking at it and I'll be looking to see, is it actually balanced? And if not, what can you do at home in order to make sure that this is actually balanced and good long-term for your pet? So let's get into it. So we asked some of our community what are the most popular videos that you have used yourself, at least you watch. We had quite a good list of very popular videos. You're gonna see the video that we linked here below. This person makes very good videos. They're super charismatic, but ultimately this is about the recipe. So here we go.
So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing yet another recipe with you guys. Your dogs will absolutely love this recipe.
Cool.
This recipe was created with the approval of my veterinarian. I did create the recipe.
Okay.
Get it approved by my dog's vet. So this is a vet.
So just to confirm, so she made the recipe and then she checked with her vet. The vet said it's good. Okay.
Vet approved homemade dog food recipe. So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Okay guys. Blissy, are you ready to help me? Are you ready to help me and show them what we need?
That's so cute, oh my God.
All right, Bentley is sleeping on the job, you guys. He is sleeping in his dog bed. He left us. But I want to share with you guys everything we're going to need for this recipe.
Yes.
So the first thing you're going to need is about 5 to 6 pounds of some ground chicken. You can definitely sub out any protein you see fit for your dog. I personally like to switch my protein up. Some weeks I do beef, some weeks I do turkey, some weeks I do chicken. It's really important to kind of give your dog a variety so you get so many different nutrients.
Yep.
So today we're going to be using ground chicken.
Absolutely true. Rotating between the different meats, rotating some ingredients within your formulas, making sure it's always balanced is great. It helps to prevent pickiness. It does help to provide slightly different profiles of phytochemicals or of different vitamins and minerals. 100% agree.
You're also going to need some coconut oil as well. This is 2 tablespoons of some organic coconut oil.
Yeah, coconut oil is great.
And we will be adding this in once the recipe is all cooked.
Okay.
And then next up, I have a 7-ounce bag of frozen spinach. I like to buy my spinach fresh.
Love
in
spinach.
7-ounce bags, and then I freeze everything in my deep freezer. So I usually buy about 10 bags
Yep.
at a time, so that way I always have.
You can do that. You can also buy it frozen. It's actually fine.
Listen, girl. You got you.
Whatever's cheaper per kg for you.
Next up, I went ahead and combined the green beans and the peas in this bowl.
Okay.
So this is a 12-ounce bag of fruit.
So a lot of people are afraid to feed peas now because they think it's related to the DCM scandal that happened a few years ago with a lot of different pet foods, or they're just afraid of legumes overall. There's no causation that has been proven. In fact, the government themselves decided to stop looking into that link. They're like, okay, it's not gonna happen. Other people are still looking into it, which is great. We'll get more data, more clarity, but so far there's no issue with feeding peas in reasonable amounts as part of a balanced diet.
Frozen green beans and a 12-ounce bag of frozen peas. I will have all of the ingredients and measurements down in the description box.
She did, which is very useful. Very, very useful.
No need to write anything down. I personally like to use frozen vegetables because I can just buy tons on hand and keep it in the freezer. So next up, we have 2 large sweet potatoes. I did keep the skin on my sweet potatoes.
Yep, sweet potatoes, fantastic.
Off of the potatoes, I just wash it very well because the skin has tons of nutrients. So just give it a good scrub, and I chop it in pretty large pieces, as you can see, because we are going to be pressure cooking all of this in the Instant Pot.
Ooh, love
so
Instant Pot pressure cooker. That's great. That's great.
We are using a half a can of some organic pumpkin puree.
Okay.
Make sure when you are buying pumpkin puree that it has no added ingredients.
Yep.
The only ingredient that is needed is pumpkin. Anything else added in is not good for your dog. So find a 100% pumpkin puree. This is the Great Value.
You could also
brand.
just give
And
pumpkin.
then next up, we have some diced carrots. So I use 4 large carrots, and I just chop them.
I mean, I'm seeing carrots, sweet potato, and pumpkin. I'm starting to feel like maybe there's a lot of starch here, but I want to see the full thing.
That we are now adding to the recipe. So many of you guys recommended this to me. I talked to my veterinarian about it and she said it is an amazing additive to add to homemade dog food. I do give my dogs calcium, which you'll see me add in a little bit later in this video. And I also give them a multivitamin. Blissey's playing with her toy down here. I also give them a multivitamin as well in joint health. The multivitamin does have amazing vitamins and minerals in it. However, adding this beef liver gives so much nutrients to your dog. So this is one.
I'm so happy she's adding beef liver because it solves a lot of potential issues with nutrition.
The last thing
beef liver, I mean, liver should be part of your diet, full stop. Full stop. You need some kind of liver.
Very good carbohydrate.
Oh no.
Fiber in there as well for your dog.
Oh no, brown rice. Oh no, it's happening again. Why do people put rice in their food? I don't understand. Why? Oh.
You want to add it in. It's very important you add it in correctly because if not, you will get that burn signal on the Instant Pot, which isn't fun. Hey guys, we have all of our ingredients here.
Okay.
We have our Instant Pot. So I
think I know where this is going.
strongly recommend this Instant Pot. If you buy anything from this video, definitely the Instant Pot. It will make your job so much easier, you guys. If this is something that you want to do for your dog.
If you can control the temperature on your crock pot or Instant Pot or whatever you're using, that's great. You want to get it about 80 degrees.
Just pop everything in the Instant Pot.
Yeah.
Maybe it took me 2 to 3 minutes to chop up everything.
Yeah.
You pop it in
Pop
and
it
let
in.
the Instant Pot do the work for you. If you do not have an Instant Pot, another option is a crock pot as well.
Yep.
However, that can take a long time in the crock pot. It needs to be on about 8 hours on low or 6 hours on high. I personally don't have the time for that, so that's why I have the Instant Pot.
Yeah, but you let it cook throughout the day. Like, it doesn't take up your time. Whatever you have works fine. As long as it's low temperature, cooked for a longer period of time, you're good.
All of the cooking of this. So if you're going to be switching your dogs over to homemade, like I said, strongly recommend this. So we're going to go ahead and get started.
Totally.
I am starting by spraying the bottom of my Instant Pot with just some olive oil. I just like to do this to make sure nothing sticks. So I put about a tablespoon at the bottom.
She had coconut oil in the recipe. She could have used coconut oil for that. Coconut oil is much more stable. She didn't say what temperature. She said I missed it. Mind you, this is not high temperature, but overall you want your oils to stay stable. So coconut oil, actually you can cook with it. You can fry with it. It's very stable. It's completely fine. I would always prefer that over olive oil. Especially if you're giving chicken and olive oil, then there's the fatty acids. You're giving kind of just a lot of the same kinds of fatty acids. There's not so much complementary stuff going on there.
Once we have the olive oil in there, I'm going to go ahead and add our sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
This is 2 large sweet potatoes with the skin on. Just dump that right on in there. Next up, we're going to go ahead and add our diced carrots. This is 4 large carrots. Dump that right in there. We are going to be adding our frozen peas and our frozen green beans. So I have 12 ounces of frozen peas, 12 ounces of frozen green beans. Going to dump that right in the Instant Pot. Make sure you get all of those veggies. The next thing that I like to add is the brown rice. So I did go ahead and wash the brown rice so it's nice and washed.
Yes, brown rice is less bad than white rice, but marginally different. But I just don't see the point. I just don't see the point. You're adding in carbohydrates. If you have no other fruits or vegetables, then adding some brown rice will help to fill in some of those gaps. And by some, I mean like 3. But adding rice to, especially a diet that you seem to already have a lot of starch, I just don't get it. Unless it's a cost thing, right? Which is very good reason, especially she has a big dog and a small dog. So if it's to dilute the price of the whole diet by adding in more bulk, you know, more energy in terms of carbs, then that makes sense. But if we're talking about like the best diet, long-term health, rice is just not it.
And we're gonna go ahead and put this in the Instant Pot. Sure you get all of the rice.
Yeah.
Now, after I have the brown rice,
the dogs love rice though. They love it.
I like to add the frozen spinach on top of the brown rice. This just gets the brown rice super moist and it's very easy for your dogs to digest. So I add the frozen spinach on top of the brown rice. After I have the spinach in is where we are going to go ahead and add in our pumpkin puree.
Oh, I thought she was going to be
So this is about 7.5 ounces of some pumpkin puree. And you add that in. This is amazing for your dogs, and they absolutely love it.
Yep.
I get questions all the time about how are my dogs' stool. Both of my dogs' stool is solid. It's not diarrhea. It's not a mess. It is the healthiest I have seen a dog's stool, in my opinion. When Bentley was on kibble, he would have diarrhea, or it would be like black. So they have a very healthy stool.
Wow.
Now that I have that pumpkin puree added in, I'm going to go ahead and add in my water at this point.
Yep.
So I'm just going to pour my water.
Little tip, if you put in bone broth to help cook it, then you're adding even more collagen, even more of those amazing joint supporting compounds.
Vitamins, and they get minerals, and they also get joint health as well. But this just has so many added nutrients in it, so I now add it. You can do chicken liver, beef liver, whatever.
Yes.
You can do chicken gizzards as well. So
not the same. No, liver is liver.
And then the next thing we're going to add in is our ground chicken.
Yes.
Remember, you can do any protein that you see fit for your dog. I do beef all the time,
Great.
chicken, turkey,
Yeah.
whatever.
Chicken is a bit harder to end up with a fully balanced diet.
So now that we have
I mean, white meats, even pork, they're a little bit harder to balance just because they're less dense in a lot of these very critical minerals that are hard to find, like zinc and copper.
Let me go get the top, and we will go ahead and get this cooking up. So we still have a few more ingredients that we need to add into this food. We're going to be adding calcium. We're going to be adding turmeric. We're
Good.
going to be adding coconut oil.
Good,
But
good.
I add that in once it's cooked. So I usually cook this homemade dog food at 25 minutes, but since we are dealing with frozen meat, I'm going to be cooking it for 35 minutes. So you want to add 5 to 10 minutes depending on how thawed out your meat is, and it's already set for 30 minutes. And we are...
So again, I really recommend that you go at a lower temperature, about 80 degrees Celsius, and then you cook for about an hour to 2 hours.
This is how it's going to look when you take the top off of it. I'm going to get my little masher, and we're just going to go ahead and mash everything up. So I just press everything in here and just mash everything. This is like perfect, you guys.
Yep.
Get everything mashed up. So now I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of supplements in here.
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to be adding is some calcium. Yes, you can put the calcium in when the food is still hot. You do not have to wait for it to cool down. It doesn't affect it at all.
Yeah.
So I will link the exact one I use for calcium. We're also going to be adding, there is some coconut oil. Let's add that in first. This is 2 tablespoons.
Coconut oil's fine. Like I said, you could use it actually to fry first.
I do coconut oil. Sometimes I do olive oil. Sometimes I do fish oil.
Fish oil.
This is here. It really just depends. I'm always switching up my oils because there's so many good ones for dogs.
I agree with her, but from your rotation of oils, fish oil should not be one of them. You should always be giving fish oil or a source of omega-3. I don't recommend you actually rotate your fish oil with your other cooking oils, just because those omega-3s are only found in fish oil and your pet needs them every day. Every day. You're not going to get absolutely not the same health benefits from the cooking oils that you would from omega-3. Fish oil as part of the diet, and then you can rotate your cooking oils, that's fine.
There's also salmon oil as well, and it's good to switch them up. But I personally, coconut oil is my favorite oil.
It's great. Coconut oil is great.
Biggest improvement in their
when you first feed it, though, give it a little bit, just a little bit, because it's been known to cause some mudslides, diarrhea, when you give too much too soon, too much too fast. I mean, the food looks great. It's just you can really see there's a lot of rice.
Now, the next supplement that I add is turmeric. This is definitely optional. You don't have to add this in.
No, you do. It's great.
I add about 1/4 of a teaspoon of some turmeric. Amazing benefits for your dogs.
Yeah.
They won't even know it's in there. So just mix all of that in.
Is that all?
If you guys are using this exact recipe, you're going to add...
She didn't add in black pepper. So because she's just adding turmeric with no black pepper, then this turmeric is doing nothing. Sorry. You always want to add in a pinch of black pepper with your turmeric in order to activate it. Yes, black pepper is safe. Okay, I know you're gonna ask. Yes, it's safe.
This recipe at all, I strongly recommend weighing out everything. I have a food scale, which is...
Calcium is super important. Giving calcium supplement, as long as it's the right amount, no problem at all.
For 16 cups, I need 5 teaspoons. And it tells you on the back how much to add, depending on how much you cook. I don't always make 16 cups of food. Sometimes I make 20, so you just have to adjust it based off of how much food you're...
You can also just add eggs and then add the eggshell itself as well.
5 teaspoons of that calcium. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix
raw
it
meaty
all
bones also works. Dehydrated bones, ground bones.
We're gonna go ahead and get this in the containers.
Okay, so...
And then we'll go ahead and feed the dogs a little bit early. It's about an hour earlier than they usually eat, but that's okay. I want you guys to see what dinner looks like.
So earlier she said she gives multivitamins. I didn't see that.
Dinner time, you guys. They love breakfast time.
So, is that it?
Position to eat. See
Okay.
how it's like a little challenge for them
Yes,
to go
that is,
around,
yes, that's
to
a
go
good,
through
yes,
all the
love
little
that.
things to eat their food. Ulysses is
That
not
slows down
nearly
feeding.
as
Okay,
challenging.
awesome. I mean, overall, that's a really, really amazing foundation for a really healthy homemade recipe. I do see some gaps though. I think that you've done an amazing job at educating yourself about pet nutrition. And again, this is just one video, right? I don't know if you're feeding this all the time or just sometimes, but I will assume that you're giving this long term. My aim here is to just give some tips on how to make this diet complete and balanced for everyday feed, just to make sure you never get any health issues. The things that I'm obviously seeing that are missing are omega-3, absolutely missing, zinc, because it's chicken based, iodine, I didn't see a source of that there. Your vitamin D and E may be low. Vitamin D for sure, E, yeah, I would say so. Some B vitamins I think would also be low because the amount of liver was not a lot. Yeah, I think it's mostly those things, which, I mean, to be fair, zinc is the hardest thing to get in most recipes. So I'm thinking about the NRC standards when I say this. So you have different standards, right? You have like FEDIAF, the European one, the American AFCO, and NRC, which is often used for home cooked diets just because half of their research is based on real ingredients and not added in synthetic minerals and stuff like that. All of what I'm saying now is to hit the minimum requirements of NRC, which are the lowest requirements that exist. Maybe adding in some fish would be great, like some canned sardines. Based on this amount, I would say a good 400, maybe 500 grams of canned sardines. 500 sounds like a lot, maybe 300 in your whole crock pot, in your whole pot that you're using. Because that would give in some omega-3s that are very important. It's gonna give you some more minerals as well because they have the bones and they're whole fish. Yes, you can grind them up, you can even blend them, we're afraid of the bones, but those bones are so soft, most dogs are fine. Just cut it up and they're quite okay. Maybe like 1% of dogs would have issues with those bones. Obviously always feed under supervision. For the iodine, absolutely kelp. Kelp will help give some sodium, some chloride, and iodine. Kelp supplement is a must in all home prepared foods for dogs and cats. Kelp is fantastic. You could buy its powder, you just add it in. It's really great. For the B vitamins, you can add in some yeast, like nutritional yeast. And this, honestly, like 10 grams is enough for your whole pot. And what's great about nutritional yeast is that dogs and cats usually love the taste. They're attracted to yeast. The yeast cell walls have the fibers that are in there. It reacts to the dogs and cats' olfactory senses and the organs on the roof of their mouth, and it just attracts them to food. It sounds maybe a bit like ugh to us, but brewer's yeast, nutritional yeast, go for it. And actually some research shows that some small amount of added yeast to food is actually good for gut health. Now, the main thing that's missing, like I said before, was zinc. First of all, increase the liver. I mean, I'm so happy you added liver and it prevented so many issues because you would have a lot more nutritional deficiencies if you didn't have liver. I don't know what you did before that. Wow. You only added 200 grams, I think is what you said. You can add more, girl. I think you can go up to 400 grams, but I wouldn't do that just because then you're adding in a lot of copper into the food, which could then cause some issues long term. So let's go halfway at 300 grams. I think you could definitely increase. That's already going to help add in a lot more stuff into the diet. It's not sustainable to add in so much liver to meet all your zinc requirements because then, like I said, you end up with some overdose of other stuff. Maybe instead of some of that meat, you could give some chicken hearts or duck hearts or any kind of heart really, because heart is a really good source of zinc, especially chicken hearts when you're talking about chicken protein. And it's a muscle protein really, so you can really just do a quick 100 grams of meat or 100 grams of heart. They're quite interchangeable in terms of at least the protein content. Mineral wise, yes, they'll be different. In terms of amino acids, yes, they'll be different. But nothing that will impact your dog's health long term. I think adding in some chicken hearts would be good. Like you need a lot because I think the zinc is quite low because I saw very little actual zinc. So adding some chicken hearts will really help. And the last thing is vitamin E. So then you're going to add in some seeds. I didn't see any seeds. So some pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds. Those will also help to add in a little bit of zinc and some other stuff. It's mostly going to be that. So I think just 50 grams is more than enough. You can sprout them, you can germinate them, but then you chop them small, blend them up, and then just mix them in there. Give more than enough vitamin E for your dogs. And then you should have a fully balanced diet when you do those small changes. Now, it is high in starch for sure with the rice, the pumpkin, the sweet potato, the carrots. If budget is not a problem, I would remove the rice completely. It makes no difference. You will not see any deficiencies because you remove rice. To the contrary, the diet will probably be more dense in those missing nutrients because you replace it with more meat, more organs, it takes a bigger proportion. Spinach, awesome. Keep it in there. It's so good. The peas are fine as well because you didn't put too much. Everything else was lovely. It's a really good base recipe. I just think a little bit too high in starch, I think, for like really optimum long-term health. The pumpkin is great. The sweet potatoes are great too. Maybe you would just want to have one and alternate between them instead of having all three all the time. Like you said before, rotation is key. And if this is lean chicken, then this recipe could be very, very lean, which is why I think your dogs are reacting positively in terms of gut health. If you're not having any skin issues at all, then you're good. Some dogs, they may benefit from like a little bit higher fat, which is why I said adding in those canned fish, canned anchovies, canned mackerel, canned sardines, whatever. As long as it's in water and then you rinse it off, it's fine. That will, I think, will also really help long term and will help to prevent joint issues, which I really hope your dog, they're so prone to getting hips and joint problems. Yeah, I think some omega-3s will do like long-term benefit, but the turmeric, awesome, black pepper, and then you're fine. Yeah, so I hope this helped. I mean, this is definitely a good recipe. I think a few little tweaks and then you got something that can absolutely be used every single day for your pet's life, really. I hope this helped. Any questions, comment down below. This comes from an amazing place. I respect you so much for putting the time to making this home cooked video. Your dogs look great. We just want to make sure that people who actually use your recipes and then give it to their dogs, that they're also getting the best for their own dogs for long-term health. And meeting all these nutritional requirements is important for that. So there you go. Comment below, follow us on socials, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.